Hello everyone, Gosha here. Today I'm talking about exhaustion, about fatigue, and about feeling drained from energy that's in the lives of highly sensitive people, maybe like yourself, the super sensitive people like INFJ, INFP personality types like me, who know probably exactly what I'm talking about. This is the super common, super prevalent attribute of highly sensitive people, of feeling like you have nothing left in you, or like whatever you do, you just have to force yourself. Like oftentimes you are running on fumes, or that you are either burning out or close from burning out, or you've experienced a burnout, or you're just terrified of burning out again. Now, if this is something that sounds familiar, if this is something that feels like you know exactly what I'm talking about, then you will learn a lot from this video. This is because in my videos, I'm taking a different perspective from everything else you've heard, because I've worked with sensory perception, mind-body connection, and different aspects of using energy, which is not woo, but how our energy relates to the external energy of the world. I've worked with all these subjects for the last 10 years, and this is the only way I've managed to get out of full-blown disassociation and living in a fairyland for 3 decades of my life, until feeling grounded, resourced, feeling connected, feeling strong, confident, and calm in my body. And I'm not telling this to brag, but I'm sharing this because I've made this path from total exhaustion, from running on fumes, from being so burned out and actually sick for several years, like chronically sick, that I had to learn all I could learn about how to get myself out of not only that state, but the habit and the tendency of doing this over and over and over. Because this is not just you go into a burnout, you experience fatigue, and all you have to do is heal from it, is recover, rest, or do something. You probably know this. It's a tendency of doing certain things, certain ways that make highly sensitive people burn out. And it is also and predominantly being a certain way. What do I mean about this mysterious being a certain way? I'm talking about the energetic makeup, energetic construct of how we relate to the world. And basically, by default, the sensitive person who is super sensitive to experiencing any sort of small discomfort, whether that's through physical senses, through their emotions, through their intuitive perception, these people feel like these different stimuli make them like literally jerk out of their skin so that they leave their body. And what happens is they go into repressive mode. You probably know, if you are that kind of person, super sensitive person, that when something bad happens, you go into like maybe reading a book or creating or dreamland or imagination or any sort of fugue state where you just like disappear, right? You don't want to feel in this physical reality. But we do have to live in this physical reality. We were born in it, and this is our path to learn how to be in it without burning out. Why is the burnout? Why is the fatigue? Why is the exhaustion happening in the first place? Why are you so drained out of energy? There is a key to all this within what I was just talking about. Basically, When you feel disconnected from yourself, you're all the time going to be watching about what everyone wants from you, what is expected out of you, how people perceive you, because you can't perceive yourself truthfully. There is all the time the filter of being a good person, or being a good employee, or being a good mother, or being a good daughter, or a son, or a husband, or a boyfriend, or something like that. That there is this bar super high that is the bar of perfectionism. This is when supposedly you would meet everyone else's expectations, the roles that you're supposed to play in your life to completely fulfill the functions that are being asked or that you've committed to because maybe you couldn't say no. And this is the super high bar where also you are feeling alone, because in this life, hardly anyone will feel the same obligation, the same self-responsibility, the same perfectionism that would ask of them to support everyone, to help everyone, to make everyone feel comfortable. No. People around you very likely are those who want that kind of person in their life, so they can take and take and take while you are giving and giving and giving. Can you see already the dynamic, the unequal dynamic, where your tendency of trying to be perfect in life, in doing everything, even if you're not really trying, is like this is an ingrained part of personality because of that construct where you don't know the limit. And because you don't feel the limit within yourself, you don't feel the limit to your actions, to when you could rest because you're tired, to how much you can give, to how much you are, I don't know, giving favors or helping or even listening to them, because these are also exhausting activities. So that these actions drain you completely from energy while you making those deeds to everyone else. And even if there is no one else around you, there is still this encoded filter of having to function. It's like literally being wound up by the lifetime of helping everyone, serving everyone, being their emotional kind of buffer, right? Or being that person who is the best at doing their job in your workplace, so that everyone comes to you with favors just because they're lazy, they just don't want to do it, and they will tell you, you're so good at doing this, why don't you do it for me? And then you just feel semi-flattered or semi-uncomfortable to say no, and for whatever reason it is actually present for you, then you will say yes. And this is happening in all areas of your life. You will say yes to that friend who again wants to dump another portion of a rant on you. You say yes to that member of family who just wants to pull you on their side, dump again some pain, or throw you into some sort of drama dynamic with someone else. And because you just want to support them, you're doing this. You are allowing this because you don't know that limit. Another part of this scenario and this reasoning is that from very early childhood, you are unlikely to be seen and understood, which is natural for someone who is perceiving the reality in the world in a completely different way. Most people don't perceive life, world, and other people in the way we do. They see it very straightforward. They look at this superficial level. They look at the surface level things. That person said this, that person said that. I want this thing, I want that, I don't have it. So it's very much physical, whereas we see world in different layers. And because we can see the world in different layers, people don't see this. And when you are being misunderstood from early in childhood, you will do everything to be seen and understood. And even the biggest loners, the biggest lone wolves of the sensitive people still have that unhealed craving, unless they've healed it already, to be seen and to belong. And with that super strong wound still active, a person is likely to exhaust themselves to the last bits, serving, helping, giving favors, working, putting pressure on themselves just to squeeze out more of yourself. And this is the sort of high functioning behavior that so many highly sensitive people have, where we might be thinking about highly sensitive people as those like super soft daydreamers and creators and all that. But there is this group of type A personality type, which one of those I was, where we are just on go, 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 because we literally don't feel any pain, we don't feel any emotion. This is the most repressed, the lowest level of high sensitivity. I talk about the stages of sensitivity in my other video. You can go and watch it later. But basically, these people can go so far to exhaust themselves that usually these people are the most likely to fall into disease, to fall into some sort of chronic pain, definitely going into some sort of codependent or narcissistic dynamics where narcissists are very opportunistic people. And when they see someone so high functioning that they can give the last juices of their life force energy to simply get a little bit of a sense of being seen or a tiny praise, then it's a very easy target. So all of these things I'm talking about are to illustrate what are the effects of the mind-body disconnection. Because when you are disconnected from your feelings, from your body, you don't know the limits. You can't recognize when enough is enough. You can't feel the limits of yourself, where you start, where someone else's start, where are your boundaries and all that. You can't recognize when you are feeling right or not right about something, when you are pressuring yourself. All these things are like below the level of your cognition. Where? In the body, right? They are felt in the body, but they are not being felt because you're not receiving that feeling. They are constantly communicating, but no one is receiving the message. And this is not a joke. It takes a while before you can process these things, but doing this without the inclusion of the body, doing this just by the head, by meditating or just sitting and thinking about it, unfortunately, is a very limited way of helping yourself. That's why the mind-body connection is crucial. And I talk about the introduction and how we can work with the mind-body in my free Calm and Confident Stress Resolution Guide for highly sensitive people, because all these hidden levels of emotion, feelings, needs, and desires are literally draining energy from you while you're trying to pretend and just function top of the kind of cognition, just looking at the surface and just seeing where you can put out some fires. But actually there is one big fire going on inside of you that you're just trying to press on, like you're trying to avoid. If that's you who is feeling a lot of fatigue, drain of energy, and all that exhaustion I was talking about. So if that's you, this guide that I share completely for free to all my newsletter subscribers is going to give you a lot of ideas how you can work preventively, so in a longer term, using the mind and the body, and acutely in the moment. So when you feel stress, what you can do to come back to yourself instead of like running like crazy and just putting out fires and coming up with all new ways you can exhaust yourself. Okay, so the link to this free PDF is in the description of this video, of this episode. For now, thank you for watching, thank you for listening, and I will talk to you very soon.